Cap off. All right. Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Two Angles on Angling. This is Jordan with my co-host.
It's Ryan, guys. What's up?
So we're hoping that the mics don't go out this time. Mine did last episode, so hopefully this time they stay the whole time through.
We're high budget, man.
Yeah, we're gonna invest in some new ones soon here. Anyways, so been an interesting week. I have had several days on the water in a way, only one on the boat, which was today, and that'll be a story. So earlier in the week, most nights, I was going to Art Park and fishing for a bit. Saw fish porpoising, saw some brown trout, a few salmon, but nothing connected. And it was just whatever, getting out of the house and casting a bit at sunset each night. So something better than nothing. And then leading to today. And so we were talking about this before the podcast. So I was like, I'm going to fish the lower river. My buddy and his dad wanted to get out. And I knew him years ago. And then all of a sudden I saw him at the fishing show. It was this year or last year. And he's like, yeah, man, I've really gotten into fishing and all of that. And I'm like, wow, like that's awesome. Like just out of nowhere. And I had no idea. So I'm like, well, yeah, we'll get out fishing at some point, dude. Like I know you want, like, we'll do it. And finally, like we had something and I was like, all right, let's go. So we get out, launch the boat, turn the graphs on, everything's all smooth. And then I go to turn the motor over and nothing is happening. And I'm like, okay. The graphs didn't even shut off. I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Dude.
Yeah. So, nothing. Okay. So I look back. I'm like, all right, what's going on? What's going on? Okay. I'm like, well, let me try and jump it, see what's happening. So, try jumping it. Nothing. I'm like, okay. Well, it made a little noise, rather, but nothing. So I'm like, all right, let's let it sit for a few minutes and see. Maybe it's just got to get some juice. Nothing. Check the terminals, tightened them all again, which they were tight, so nothing to really be done there. Starts, okay, nothing. Starts turning over, but nothing. I'm like, all right. Take it apart. We clean the terminals, boom, bam, put it all back together. Finally, it jumps. I'm like, oh, sweet. All right, cool. So we've got the motor, and I'm like, guys, it's not ideal, but we're going to have to run with the motor on all day long because if we shut this off, we're fucked. And, this is not the situation for that. And they're like, I don't care. I just want to fish. I'm like, all right, I know. I do too. So, I'm like, all right, I think we're good. I'm like, but I'll just have one graph on. The motor's never going to turn off. I'm never going to turn the motor off. I'm like, we'll be good. So, I'm like, let me check the trolling motor because if for some odd reason the trolling motor is not good, then we're super just like we have no control drift, like we're just like aimlessly
You're
at
doomed.
the whims. Yes. So, so I go and push on the trolling motor, and it's just slowly spinning. And I'm like, oh my god, we've got no juice to it. Like, and I'm at 100, and I'm like, okay, what? So go back, flip the switch a few times, see what's going on, and I'm like, okay. So finally, I think we might have adjusted something back there, and it starts going slow, and then it starts like going fast. I'm like, okay, cool. So we've got trolling motor, we've got the big motor. We can at least get up, start a drift, start fishing, and see what's going on. So Zach, if you're listening to this, I doubt you are, but Zach, much like Tyler that I took out the other time, reels the opposite way, or as you do as well, but from me. So I reel with my left, they reel with their.
I do both.
Right. You do both, I know, but so so I switch them over and whatever, and I'm like I'm yet again showing them because they're like, well, what do we got to do? Like bottom contact, whatever. And so I cast, show them, and I'm using his with the opposite one, so I'm like getting all adjusted. I'm like, okay, see, like bottom contact, blah blah blah. And the big motor's running, and I got the trolling motor going. I make a cast with my tube, And I'm like, oh, all right, I'm feeling bottom, and I'm like, okay, like let me. Something happened with his rod, and I'm like, okay, let me get that for you. Like, just feel the tube on the bottom. And he's like, I don't reel this way though. I'm like, well, just just deal with it for a second. You'll be good. Like it's got good bottom contact. It might get bit. Like you'll be good. We got this. So I could feel that the trolling motor was not really got. It didn't have much juice, and I'm like, well, this sucks. It looked like it was really strong like earlier, and now just nothing. So I get his thing unsnagged. I retie it. Boom, bam. I get back up on the trolling motor, and I'm looking back, and I'm like looking at all these salmon jumping and everything. I'm like, oh, this is sweet. And out of nowhere, just boom, super loud noise. And I'm looking back at the boat, and there's just smoke billowing out of the back. And I'm like, what on? So I'm like, all right, guys, reel in as quick as you can. Like, get to the front of the boat. Like, let me see what's going on. I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to get the fire extinguisher out, whatever. Okay, open it, and I'm like, oh my god, like the one trolling motor battery exploded, like sides cracked, top off, like just crazy. So I'm like, all right, we're super done, guys.
We're super done.
Like, let's get back to the dock. So we get back to the dock and tie off. And I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry. I know you wanted to fish. I wanted to fish. And they're like, we're just happy we're safe. And I'm like, I know. And I get that. But I really wanted to fish today. Like, I haven't caught a fish in a while. Like, this was like going to be guaranteed. I know we could at least catch some smallmouth, or at least someone would catch a smallmouth so I could see one. And no. So that was a huge bummer. The battery store was closed. Interstate was closed today, so I just put it in the driveway, um, chalking it up as an L.
That's a huge
A
L
huge
because
L.
it's
Yeah,
still
I was gonna say a huge L.
it's still
Yeah,
an unresolved issue.
it sure is.
You
So
know, I mean, you can check the batteries all you want, but there's something going on in there.
yeah,
You know that requires deeper inspection.
yeah,
So you either get it done ASAP or you hang it up for the year and strictly focus on walking the creeks. But
yeah,
we need water for that.
yeah. That's true as
But
well.
you're doing
Yeah,
your thing on the lower. I would be going between Devil's Hole and the Whirlpool. Like
yeah,
I'd park in Devil's Hole because it's the same drive time
yeah,
for you.
for sure.
You know, I would get away from our park and start
Yeah,
doing that, and because there's great water,
yeah,
great holding water from Devil's Hole up. Like, don't fish Devil's Hole. There's already tons of dudes
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that, but like hike upstream and find little pockets where. And the nice thing about that walk is you're pretty much always right over the river, so you can look down, and the
yeah,
water's so clear right now. You will probably see fish if you hike that and just
yeah,
look. Um, but I'd focus on that section and
yeah,
just
yeah.
either that or you because you can't, even if the batteries, like, what caused the battery to do that.
I have no
You
idea,
know,
dude.
I'm not a boat
Yeah,
like an electric guy. Like, I don't know. I'm That's like one area that I don't mess with at all.
yeah,
I just know it's a weakness of mine. I'm 47 years old. I'm not trying to build the skill set. I sub that out every single time. And that would freak me out, dude. Like, I would
dude.
have
I've
persistent anxiety until I
yeah.
figured out exactly how that happened.
As soon as the motor didn't turn over, I was at first like my gut instinct was like, okay, if this doesn't jump like this third time now, like let's just like let's call it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. We wouldn't have had a blown up battery, but it probably would have happened at some point. I'm guessing. So, whatever. Yeah, anyone, and everyone who's been listening to this podcast from the get go, this seems to be the theme. I'm
Yeah,
having
it's
boat
time to get
issues.
divorced.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
Yeah, it's
Seriously.
just time, dude. Like,
Yeah, this
it's
boat's a
like,
disaster.
I like the thing about boats. All right, I could talk about this from your angle and my angle. From
The
my
two
perspective,
angles on angling.
yeah, my perspective is that it is a tool that I must be able to use without fail every time that I want to use it, which is near daily, right? So I'm in that boat so often, like, such huge chunks of my consciousness are spent in that boat that, like, and this is just going to sound kind of corny and cliche, but it's totally true. And if you guide a lot, you can totally relate to this. Like, you in the boat become the same thing. Like you become connected. Like so I can just there's sounds, smells, like different angles that it like just different ways that it behaves. Like there's all these little nuances that if there's an anomaly there, you can sense it immediately. Like and like and you have automatic sea legs. You know exactly where everything is. Like it's just like an extension of yourself.
Yeah, like
You
your house, your space. You can
yeah,
walk around at night with the lights off, like nothing.
yeah,
Like
but you're operating out of it, like
yeah,
so. It's more like an operate. It's like a floating operating
yeah,
room would be a
yeah, yeah.
better metaphor there. But either way, like
So
it's then from your perspective, to me, okay, so which is the overwhelming majority of people are fit into your camp, whereas you fish when you can.
hmm
Um, Now that's like not everybody can guide for a living, and so everybody else has a different type of job, and some of it requires 40 to 50 plus hours a week, not all that much vacation time. And so when you want to fish, or when you get the time to fish, you want all of your tools to be operating without fail, because
it's precious time.
yeah, you don't have that much time to do it.
Yeah,
And to me, if I was a boat owner, I would never buy something or own something that I didn't feel supremely confident in all the time. Because otherwise, dude, like think about that. You're like you lost precious time. You
yeah,
burned time and resources, and for what? To not have a boat, like not have a boat payment. To have a used boat that's problematic. Like yeah, okay, well that's just what I said. You either hang that boat up so you don't have to deal with that anxiety or don't
uh,
have to gamble with it and convert to walking creeks
hmm
or walking the river, which is sweet. Like
yeah. It's an opportunity for
in the
sure. Yeah,
specifically for the fall.
yeah,
Or you dump it and get a brand new one like we were
yeah.
talking about before. But
Yeah, so yet to be decided on that side on that, but yeah, it's been an eventful day. So yeah, that's where I'm at, I guess. With the whole, it was a crazy, crazy, crazy morning. We saw a mink eating a dead smallmouth on the at the launch, which was ironic and cool at the same time, I suppose. Uh, but yeah, nothing else really to report. I honestly thought about just staying in the boat while we were at the dock for like, because we launched at the fort for like an hour and just casting. I was like, we're probably gonna run into us, but at that point, I was just like, you know what, we gotta, I gotta
yeah,
part my ways. I got part ways with this with this river right now. Uh,
so you saw a lot of Browns porpoising over there, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and a few salmon for
yeah,
sure. Like, yeah, it was cool.
yeah. Probably some Lakers too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, Tyler said he saw one for sure earlier when he was fishing too.
that
So
behavior is that's the biggest change from our last podcast to this week. Like, there's definitely a lot of Browns moving in.
yeah,
A couple have been caught, but they're not in feed mode. Like
mm.
they're staging to spawn. So
Did you fish the lower at all?
all
This
week,
last
like
okay.
a lot
So,
of this
so what
last
what
week.
water temp did you have? I know, or well,
Well, at the end of the week is like 65,
okay,
66.
yeah, because it was saying like 63 today, and I thought that
Yeah,
that might
that
that
might have been right for
yeah,
down there.
okay,
I didn't even pay attention to water
yeah,
temperature out in Lake Erie today. That's where I fished today. But
okay.
no, my
Because
so
yeah,
I
it was saying 69 last time I was out there, so that's
yeah,
a
no,
big
it
big
definitely
dip.
came
Yeah,
down because of
yeah,
north winds.
yeah,
That the north winds, the east winds, the rain,
yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah,
actual drop into. I mean, we got down
yeah,
into the upper 40s a couple of
yeah.
days this past week. So
Excuse me.
I mean, there was definitely a big conversion to not big, but a drastic conversion to fall weather from which is a nice break from all the 80 to 80 some degree days.
Yeah,
But we had everything this past week from frost to a good dosing of rain on one day to bluebird skies, calm conditions to norths. I mean, it was everything. Like
yeah.
it was a wild week. I fished every day,
East
but
winds today.
yeah, I fished every day but one. I took Thursday off and just went to the gym and chilled. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I fished the lower all those days, and we had varying conditions. Like the first day, we had big souths, fast current, caught bass. The second day, Tuesday, poured rain. That was that big rain day. Plus, we had a strong north wind, and we dropped our clients off at the dock like an hour and a half in. Like they tapped out. They
Yeah.
they just didn't want to stay out there any longer because these guys were in town for 3 days,
Yeah.
and so they wanted to fish all the days. We went out there. We were just getting pelted. They're like, man, you can take us back. We're
Yeah.
we're good. So we take him back to the dock, and I'm like, I say to my buddy Joe, I'm like, dude, I came here to fish today, man. Like, we've been rained on all day. I don't give a shit about the rain. It was like 72 degrees outside. Like, it wasn't cold. It was just we were getting pelted. And I'm like, I'm already wet, man. Like, I don't care. I'm not cold. If you
Yeah.
want to, I want to go up to Devil's Hole and cast for a bit. And I went up there and cast deep diving cranks, and in 3 drifts got 3 walleyes and a king. Um, so that was
Nice.
badass. I mean, it was total luck. Like we hit it perfectly. Nobody had been up there for a while. It was pouring
Is
rain.
that the king behind you
Yeah, yeah,
there?
yeah. That's the one I got. But it was pretty sweet. And then the following day, we went in there and again into Devil's Hole and with these 2 old guys, and I had them ripping cranks, and they got some tanker walleyes. We got one that was at 10 pounds, like just shy of 30 inches. That was our biggest one. But
Nice.
in the
Wow.
solid like 6 to 8 pound range kind of
Yeah.
fish, like good hard fighting big walleyes. And then we caught bass downstream too. Uh,
Any bigger size than last time we've talked? No.
no,
Yeah.
Thursday I took off. Friday I had just a dud day, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like we caught some smallmouth, but there was a tournament going on in the Upper
Yeah.
Niagara, the Canadian Tire
Yeah.
tournament. There were tons of free floating weeds in the upper. We caught fish, but it was just a disaster. Like trying to fish any baits, we were getting weeded out all the time from out. There's just a lot coming out of the system.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last 2 days though were awesome. We went to last 2 days. I fished out of Barcelona. Um, Yesterday, the sole mission was to fish Lakers, and just so people are aware, like Lake Erie and its tributaries, there's no closed season for Lakers. We didn't keep any, but I never really keep Lakers. But we were out there hunting. Like right now, you cannot like legally target lake trout. Like they're there, and there's brown trout and steelhead in the same place, so people catch Lakers. Like it's like a gray area. The DEC's aware, but on Lake Erie, there's just no gray area. Like you can catch lake trout all year. But I don't want to like one. I just learned about this and experimented with it last week, and two, I'm real apprehensive about fighting lake trout when they're living below the thermocline. Like if they're like
Mm,
I don't want that
yeah.
temperature change to be too
True.
crazy for them. So I've been waiting for the temperatures to get into the 60s, like the low 60s, and just fish for them out in deep cold water. And so we're in that zone. Um, but dude, those Lakers are giants, man. I mean, you saw the pictures
Yeah.
of them. Like check out my fishing report if you want to see pictures of them. But I don't know what they're eating, but they are eating well. Like
Yeah.
probably alewives or
Yeah.
smelt or something. I don't, but they're like a little bit on average longer than Lake Ontario Lakers, but the main thing is their girth. Like they have huge stomachs. Like they're just massive fish. Like hard. Like when I some of the biggest ones that we landed over the past 2 days. Like I'd have to have my bottom hand like really splayed out, and it would like like cover my fingertips. Like I'd be like that. I mean that's just a massive creature, dude.
Yeah.
Like the size of a small child.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they were. I mean, it was awesome. They were totally frenzied. Both days. The guys who I fished with yesterday didn't want to catch walleyes. They just wanted the opportunity to catch giant Lakers, and we did. It was ridiculous. And today I fished with one of my longtime clients, good friends, the Walleye Whisperer and his son, the Silent Assassin. If people who read my blogs, they know who those people are. We went out today, but we wanted to get walleyes too, and the same thing happened. Like plus we got 18 walleyes and a steelhead too, but tons of Lakers and some real giants in there too. So it was super sweet. It was fun to get away and do something different. The beauty of it all, dude. I was the only truck and trailer in the Barcelona parking lot for 2 days. There was
Wow.
nobody there,
Damn.
nobody, and I was out because it was huge.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
like yesterday, there were big souths. Like when we went out there in the morning, it was consistent 2 to 4s with an occasional 5. Like it was big. It was. I'm surprised it wasn't small craft advisory. Even if it was, I'd have gone out in it anyway. But it was big to the point where it only makes sense to fish riggers anyway because
Yeah.
I don't just let's run 2 rods and keep it
Yeah.
simple and let's stay agile in these
Yeah.
waves. Um, but they were big, but it laid down as the day went on. Whereas today, when we went out, it wasn't too bad, but it got bigger and bigger, bigger. Like we had a pretty stiff like northeast coming at us. So I fished from really deep water and started catching Lakers with occasional walleyes, and then the shallower you get, the Laker numbers drop off and the walleye numbers come up.
Mm.
Is the general program. So tons of Lakers, occasional walleye in the beginning, and then we just banged on walleyes. Got that steelhead in the mix too. And the steelhead ate a little tiny worm burner spoon that
Yeah.
I use for walleyes, which is cool. So yeah, that happened. It was an awesome couple days, and it's the type of place where it's pretty much best done with locals, or maybe people from like Pennsylvania and Ohio to shorten their commute. Um, definitely not the tourist crowd, but it's something special. It's kind of out there and it takes a commitment,
Mm-hmm.
but it is awesome, and I intend to make it like a seasonal offering
There you
for October's. Um, and I just think the steelhead numbers out there are going to go up too. Like I'm surprised I haven't caught more of them, but it's been fun. It's
That's
been fun.
awesome.
So good week, upcoming week, more chaos weather. I think there's like steady easts and norths for the next 3 days and some big ones. I'll be hunkering down in the lower Niagara, targeting salmon and smallmouth. I'll take a poke and see if there's trout around in Art Park, and uh, but the fort won't really be fishable for at least 2 of those days because of the north winds.
Mm.
But it might be worth going down there and like seeing if you could fish some of the eddies and
Yeah.
get blown upstream in some of the eddies or something. I don't
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
but
True.
yeah, I'll be down there for 3 days, and then after that, the long term forecast has got some bigger winds, but then like Thursday, Friday coming out of the southwest. But like the next 3 days are going to be cold. Like colder than what they've been. What I think is interesting though is like the color change in the leaves
Yeah.
since our last podcast. So like we're in, it's like the beginning, like it's pre-peak. It's definitely
Yeah.
not peak, but
No. Yeah.
it's
We're on the rise
yeah, it is
for it.
definitely on the
Yeah.
rise, and all
Yeah.
we need is
Few
like another
colder
little
nights.
dose of rain
Yeah.
and like another frost or two, and
Oh
just
yeah,
boom.
dude. Yeah.
Like I think not by the end of this week, this upcoming week,
For sure.
we're in for an explosion of color.
No doubt
So,
about that.
but no, that's my take, man.
Yeah. I don't got a whole lot more to say about the about the week there. So
Cool. Cool.
no, well, yeah, we talked about this on the no fecal encounters this week, thank God. So stayed
That's
clear of
good.
the shit on the lower. So, and needless to say, I've not gone back to that spot again. Don't think I ever will.
Start going in it already, buddy. Or I mean,
Yeah,
at
I
Devil's
got
Hole.
you. Yeah,
The walk is probably even less too.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, definitely needing a change of pace, change of rhythm coming up. Fall's a great time for that. Who knows what's going to go on with the boat? We'll find out next week. Keep you posted. Yeah. So, anyways, what do you want to get deep on this week? We actually have a topic queued up for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I don't want. We don't need to anchor on it for too long, but
No,
it's
but
just something I want to put out there to people, like just a short rant. But I keep hearing, okay, number one, I consume media, mainly podcasts and audiobooks through Spotify and YouTube. That's my connection to the outside world is podcasts and audiobooks, and then on those two platforms. I'm never on Instagram. I'm never on anything else. No other platform. Just those two. And it's strictly for those things. Podcasts, maybe every once in a while, instructional videos, whatever. Um, but I keep hearing people talk about AI. I hear my clients talk about AI, and I think without getting too deep into some people's thoughts, I keep hearing phrases like it's revolutionary and transformative and all these things people are saying about it. And I just number one, I don't even think most people that say that or even are having these thoughts can define AI. I mean, I can't. I don't know exactly what it is, and I know most people cannot. They throw the phrase out there, but they don't really know what it is. And I'm not saying that I do. I'm totally saying that I don't. But it's thrown out. You know, a lot of there's a AI, crypto czar under the Trump presidency, and it's a large narrative. There's people like Altman and Elon Musk and all these. You know, they talk about it in pressers or whatever podcasts, all these things. Um, and what I've come to think about it is that it is a huge ad campaign to direct people's attention to those platforms, to enable those platforms to learn more and more about human behavior. That's all it can be, really. Like, it's if you're a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation, or you're an extremely intelligent, well-resourced, and very well-networked person, and you're looking at the world like, how can I make money in this capitalist world? And well, one good way, if you're tech savvy, is you're aware of how you can grab people's attention so you can make money off of ad dollars or subscription fees. So right now, lots of people are focused. They consume audiobooks, podcasts. They just randomly scroll social media, whatever, through ridiculous numbers of apps. But everybody's time spent on these rectangles is people are competing for every individual's time. Companies are competing for individuals' times. Um, so in order to gain a portion of that market share of people's times, you got to hype. Like, you got to be out there hyping, and you got to create a narrative around a thing. Artificial intelligence. It's a transformative and revolutionary thing. It's going to be able to do this, and this. Look at this platform. Like, get on here, there, experiment with it. And I've used them. Like, I've 100% used them and found them to be very useful. Grok, ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. I've used all of them, and I find them to be useful in editing my blogs for me, uh, and doing some trip planning, Like it's just a one consolidated space, like like a co-pilot, like it's a thing, like a desktop assistant that can, instead of googling something and seeing, having to go through individual hyperlinks and click on different websites, it just curates it for you. Now there's definitely problems with that, but there's a lot of pros too, because who knows how well it's actually curating the information. But anyway, that's the extent of it, right?
Mm.
So I don't understand how this is, you know, revolutionary or transformative. I think these words are being thrown out there to grab people's attention, to get them to start playing with these things, and everything that you do on that thing is teaching it, how to get better and become more human like. So it's an excellent, advertising strategy,
Mm.
and it's working. I don't find it to be, and I've sat and tried to imagine scenarios that could unfold from it, and I just don't see anything happening quickly. So then that just leads you to wonder, okay, well, what is revolutionary or transformative? Like, our species has never been in stasis. Like, since we've been around, we have this thing in us that makes us want to build things, that makes us want to tinker with things, that makes us seek comfort, makes us like want to improve sexual prowess, whatever. Like, there's thousands of different motivations, but it's always trying to drive to accomplish something other than just surviving. You know, get comfort. Now I have extra time in my hands. What can I do with it? And then people just branch out into all these thousands of different, you know, individual type of lifestyles. But we've been doing this since the dawn of time. So we're since the dawn of humanity. So what's different? Like, it's just another thing. So why are we talk like why do we talk about it so much? Like, I'll never forget this, man. In the late, this is 1999. I had just transferred. Yeah, the 98-99 school year. I transferred from the Citadel to UNC Chapel Hill. Spent a semester in the dorms and then transferred out of the dorms to one of my suite mates, and I moved and got an apartment out in town. And we had TV. We were watching TV one day, and this in the late '90s is like the .com bubble, and all of these, because the internet was just starting to become a thing that the public could access in the late '90s, and every commercial had .com, and like it was just all this focus on get on the internet. You got to get on the internet, and that's what we did. Like it's but it's still our fundamental behavior is to drive towards something different, and I don't know that it, like, other than continuously captivating us to the point where we want to stay focused on a thing right in front of us instead of being focused on an outside world. I don't really know where that goes. Like so when somebody, like, if we just keep changing, and seeking higher and higher comfort levels, or just diverging down what seems to be like completely random paths. Like, anybody who tries to predict the future, like, it's always wrong. So in short, I just think it's a waste of time thinking about, personally. Like, it's gotten to that point where I just want to record this now and say that I'm tired of talking about it. I think the more that you acknowledge it, the more you start to believe that it's something that it's just really not. And if you think critically about it, like, sure, you could say the same thing about the iPhone, about having ice cubes, and like, it's so, because it's a vast thing that we're always developing new and new stuff. Like, why focus so hard on it to make it so? Just accept that this is how things always are. They're always changing. They've changed rapidly, especially in my lifetime. I mean, and it will continue to do so in all human beings' lifetimes until there's some sort of cataclysm. And so we're just like paying attention to what humanity has always done. I just think it's weird. Like, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm tired of talking about it. So that's that's my rant. I'm not going to debate anybody about it anymore. I'm done. But it's it's I've had a lot of interesting conversations about it, and I'm not sold.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because like, so one final example, like because I had this gastroenterologist and his good friend who does drywall work, owns a drywall installation company. They were fishing with me earlier this week, and we started talking about AI. And the doctor is explaining how it's helping him with his patient flows and whatever. And it's like, well, at any given time, a software platform could come about that could help you do that. Like, I'm not seeing, like, you're not really defining what AI is for me or whatever. And so then I ended up saying to him that him and his buddy, the guy who does drywall, and I, is not going to transform or change our life in any way. Like, it might make planning more simple. And he's like, well, think about it this way, dude. If your phones or something similar to it can constantly record atmospheric, air temperature, barometric pressure, wind speed, um, water temperature, current flow, all these things, like a dozen, like however many variables are out there. Let's say 20 variables. It's constantly recording that, and you have the ability to enter your catch rate and log to it. So you have ability to log how many fish you caught, what baits you were using, etc., and you can just build this thing out. Um, and if thousands of anglers did this, it would build a model that suggests when the best times to fish are, right? Because that would be the end state of the model, so people don't waste their time going out when catch rates are low. If you're thinking about the world in like a totally practical way, if you're trying to optimize your time, if there's a capability that can tell you whether or not you what your chances are of success if you go out, on at today or on this day and you do this, your chances of success are really high. So imagine if that capability evolves, right? One, this capability will evolve, and it's kind of already there, I think, like fish brain or whatever. But
Yeah.
the capability is kind of already there. But let's say it starts to become more and more ubiquitous in the angling community. Um, it's still, I don't care how many anglers there are out there and how many data points there are. The variables are just far beyond 20. Like it just nature's just way too complex.
Oh yeah, and with all the combinations of
Yeah, like because
yeah,
dude, I've caught fish in every condition that you could think of that's fishable and safe, and I've stroked it in every condition that's fishable and safe. It with under dozens of different very light. It's all these different things. So, but let's just say though that the public, because what will end up happening, the more people are paying attention to this thing, and by this thing I mean like you're engaging with a singular app, which is, or a gateway, whatever, which would be like all these large language models. Eventually, you'll be able to have full out conversations. You can definitely somewhere have full out conversations with them now. Um, but let's just say that because these capabilities keep getting better and better for like answering people's questions, that you start to trust it implicitly. And you develop a relationship with it. So if it tells you something, in your mind, you're like, well, this thing's always given me the right information. Like, there's no way it's going to be wrong. So you're booked to fish with me on Thursday, and you have this capability, and the app's telling you that super low likelihood of you having a good outing today because of this, and this.
Dang.
Are you gonna call and be like, dude, my like? So what most people would probably do is just call and lie. They would just be like, look, man, something came up, I can't go. But there might be some honest people out there who would say, I mean, which is why you collect deposits and, like that. So at least you don't totally take an L. But let's say that you're honest about it, and somebody calls me and says, "Look, man, I use this app. It's telling me that Thursday is going to be like a straight up shit show. Like, I want to cancel."
It seems so out there for me to even like think.
Dude, it's 100% possible though, like super possible.
But yeah, continue your whole
Like it is. There are some of my clients who will, you know, rightfully so. Like some people will probe hard. You know, like what do you think's going to happen? You know, how is this going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, what are our catch rates going to be? You know, what exactly is the weather going to be? Like detailed type of stuff, like serious probing to try to find an excuse to bail. You know, there's some people that will do that. It is definitely not common, but there are people like that. And I can see, like, the more and more people get a relationship with that phone, why wouldn't you ask it? Based on what you're seeing for the forecast in Buffalo, New York for Thursday, what do you think my fishing is going to be like? And it'll tell you, well, based on this, it's like, it's probably going to be this way. And it's like, okay, so then you call me and be like, dude, my AI told me that I'm not going to do well. I'm done. Okay, well, one, you're fired. Like your deposit's mine. That like any charter captain are going to be that way. If you're going to trust a robot over a person, that shit starts to get weird. Like so, but I can totally imagine this scenario unfolding like within the next like less than 10 years. That's the one thing that I get concerned about is because people have a strong connection to their devices, their social media profiles, their online avatars of who they are. You know, they get super attached to that world, and there's no way like people just don't very often disconnect from it. So you just have like if you have this thing that can actually like have conversations with you, like you will for sure, especially if you're you don't have many friends, you don't get out all that often, you will for sure begin to trust it and like dead?
Is yours dead too?
Yeah, but I bet you they can hear us.
Yeah, hopefully. Might as well just pop this out the. All right.
Yeah, we'll have to buy new ones.
May as well not have friends.
But you would grow to trust this thing.
Yeah.
You'd think it was. So you start living, you know, through that, being constantly advised through that, not making your own decisions. That will 100% be a phenomenon. I don't know how big of a phenomenon, but if we start to trust these things implicitly, I could see that. Like, they're right now, because you and I and pretty much everybody who was born more than like 10 years ago, so people that are 10 years old or older, we've seen this thing like emerge and have been sentient, conscious of it, right? But eventually, dude, this more and more increasingly intense relationship with the device and or earpieces, whatever, that you could have conversations with a robot sitting next to you, whatever the form it comes in, you communicating verbally with another thing that is not a human and getting advice from it, and basically trusting it, like that will become a thing.
I mean, Siri. I mean, I do not use Siri on my phone, but like that's already a thing.
Yeah,
Hey,
other
Siri,
than to
can
set
you
a
do this?
timer.
I don't. I don't do it at all.
Yeah, other than set a timer. That's
not even set up on my phone, bro.
That's about the only thing.
Or
I use it to I use it too when I'm on my boat to call people, like if I'm baiting hooks or whatever. But yeah, my general point there though is, as time goes on, this technology becomes more and more ubiquitous. Young kids will consume it ravenously, and they won't have a memory of when it wasn't an advising force or a steering force, like, you know, a thing to communicate with. It'll just become like we're too old at this point. We're dinosaurs. This young generation of kids coming up now is where this thing will flourish. You know, like we still have a choice. Like people like you and I still have a choice about how to scale it. But eventually, you start having some robots around, or chatbots, or whatever, or just an earpiece where you could just cue in and say, hey, you know, can you give me directions to here? Like walk me through it. I'm wearing glasses so you can see. That I for sure exists right now. So I, you know. But we can choose to adopt or not adopt. The youngest of us cannot. So like I said, I can foresee this happening. But the more that we talk about it, I think the faster it spreads. And you know, I personally see no use for it. You know, as an advising force, like in my life all the time. But that's just me, bro. Just a dude who's getting old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on a similar wave to you. Like, I mean, I don't use it at all. Like as much as possible. I guess I know clearly I do interface with it to an extent, but it's just I don't know, man. I haven't put a whole lot of thought to it, but I don't see any good routes that it could go down long term or anything as to like, you know, who we are and how we like to live our lives. So I guess that's the biggest lens that I'm looking at it through, is like, how does it impact us as outdoors people and what we're doing to be outside, and
do we allow it to impact?
That's true as well. But what about the last thing? But the new generation, I guess, coming up too. So I guess going back to the word dinosaurs, like are we the last outdoors people? You know, like who knows?
No, I mean, people will walk around with thermals, and you know, there'll be. I mean, you know, like drones, small scale drones. Not the drone hunting is illegal in a lot of states, but there'll be loopholes around that. And, I mean, there's already thousands of trail cameras out there creating a digital picture of what's happening in the woods. Like imagine like having these different triangulation capabilities and being able to bracket in animals and know exactly where they are through elaborate camera systems advised by, you know, an overhead view of, okay, put one on this tree, this tree, this tree, like, and it just creates a whole program for you. Well, yeah, I mean, that's how, like, dude, that shit's been going on in the military for a long time. You know, there's nothing novel about that.
Anyways, I think that's all I got for today. That's a lot to.
Me too, buddy.
I guess.
Thanks for letting me go.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody. Hopefully you can hear the audio.